Chapter 2. Broken Glass. No one ever thought telekinesis was actually real. Sure, the Bible said that faith could move mountains, but we all know that is a metaphor. But here I was, a boy who had made a matchstick fly over the table into my hand. I spent another year with daily practice moving this matchstick as I tried to enhance my new skill and gain more control over it. Eventually, I was able to hold the matchstick up against the ceiling as long as I kept my eyes and mind on it, maintaining intense focus. It was time to move on to larger objects, but school life was making it much harder to focus. I was about to finish primary school and graduate to high school, which was a daunting thought. After having spent an hour each day after school moving a matchstick around the room, I grabbed a glass from the kitchen, ready to try and move it. I placed it on the bench and stared at it. Occasionally, someone would catch me, which was difficult to explain. If I told them I was trying to move the glass with my mind, I would look a fool. So I took the glass into my bedroom and began trying to move it like I did with the matchstick. The days turned into weeks and then into months, followed by years. I was completing my high school years, and it was time to decide what on earth I would do with the rest of my life. Would I get a full-time job and simply use my skill to make mundane tasks feel easier? Or would I choose to make a living out of magic using my telekinetic ability? One thing I knew was that I would need to move far more objects and far bigger ones than matchsticks or even a glass. Clearly, far more control was needed too, if I were to make a living out of this, so I decided to get some work while I further developed my power. I took a part-time job stacking shelves at the local supermarket, where I would occasionally try to use my mind to move items without touching them, but it was difficult to maintain sufficient focus to do anything because I was often being watched and still trying to keep my ability a secret. On top of this, I still could only move ultra-light objects like matches, although I did start to move boxes of matches. After work, I'd return home to where I'd go into my room and work on moving a glass. Suddenly, with a crash and a mess, the glass flew across the table, but missed my hand and smashed against the wall. I was never so happy to have accidentally broken a glass. It was very difficult to explain why I had apparently thrown the glass at the wall, and impossible to hide the fact that I had, as it made a considerable noise and was heard by everyone in the house. Now my spare time was spent seeing a specialist for anger management, which gave me much less time to practice my telekinesis. But after a year, I had full control over the glass, just as I had gained with the matches. By this time, I had mastered moving matchsticks and even boxes of matches effortlessly, but moving the glass still required considerable effort, which brought on terrible headaches. The frequency of these headaches gained the attention once again of my family, who grew more and more concerned. Excellent! Now I have to see a specialist about anger management and a GP for the headaches. Nevertheless, I managed to find time to practice until I gained the same precision with a glass as with matches. Obviously, it was time to diversify again.